New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
What Would Louise Say? Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hosted by Reverend Martine Bernard. Explore the wisdom of Louise Hay. Brought to you by New Thought Media Network. Dive into Louise's teachings. Experience healing and empowerment. Reverend Martine shares insights. Connect with a contemporary audience. Unlock your potential. Transform your life with love. Embrace positivity and healing. Join our vibrant community. Ready to join us? Let's spread love and wisdom together. Please like, share, and subscribe. Only on New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
And good morning, wherever that you're at, or good afternoon, good evening. My name is Reverend Michael Mangus, and I am the producer of What Would Louise Say here on the New Thought Media Network. It's really good to see you all today. Where's Reverend Martine? Well, we got the phone call within the past hour that she was not able to make the broadcast. So I got volunteered here to step in, and we have a wonderful show for you planned today. And that, again, that one of the nice things about us being live is that you can ask questions. And I would say that this is your day to ask some questions, because we're going to be talking about today a wonderful subject called the art of manifesting with affirmations. The art of manifesting with affirmations. And we have a wonderful guest here today with us, the lead trainer, the head trainer of Heal Your Life Training. And I will tell you more about her in just a second. And that is Dr. Patricia Crane. Hello there, Dr. Patricia.
Hello.
How are you?
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. A little bit about Patricia Crane. She is the master trainer for the Heal Your Life Workshop Leaders and Coaches Training that was approved by Louise Hay. In the early 80s, she was delighted to meet the best-selling author, Louise, and attend 2 of Louise's week-long intensives. And again, after assisting Louise at Susquehanna, anyhow.
Some more.
Say that word for me.
Subsequent.
There you go. Intensive. She was personally chosen by Louise to lead the powerful 2-day Love Yourself, Heal Your Life workshop. And this life-changing workshop has transformed many thousands of attendees as they learn to release the past, forgive, and love themselves, and also led to a request for a training program. In 1995, Louise approved the training, and this work has brought together Patricia's deep desire to be of service and her passion to travel. She has led 135 trainings worldwide, most with her husband and co-trainer Rick Nichols, and she's authorized right now 21 other trainers. It's been her joy to teach women and men how to love and approve of themselves and how to make a difference in the world. Patricia is passionate about the power of affirmations to attract what you want. Her first book is Ordering from the Cosmic Kitchen, the essential guide to powerful, nourishing affirmations. And most recently, the 11 steps to achieve your dreams, your path to empowerment. How wonderful. Well, first, before we begin, I just want to say that it is my honor to be producing this program weekly. The one thing that I always look forward to is that the life is to meet people who are doing life-changing work around the world using Louise's principles. I mean, from prisons to schools to corporate, I mean, and again, thousands of people have been affected by this teaching through your organization. So it's a real honor for me to be producing this program and to meet such wonderful people and to know that Louise's teaching is still affecting people from around the world. So again, thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. So let's get into our subject here, the art of manifesting through affirmations. So how did you find affirmations?
Well, a lot of people, as we had talked about earlier, have a book fall off the shelf or something like that. But for me, it was when I started meditating. And I was a real anxious kid. And then when I got into my, early 20s and I was working in a very stressful environment as a social worker, stressed out, and she put her hand on my shoulder one day and said, "You need to meditate." And so I know. So I had no idea, right? But I did. She took me to a class or a group, and I ultimately did start meditating. And quite honestly, the first meditation I ever did, it was like the sky opened up. Suddenly I was in a whole different place, and I continued meditating every single day, morning and evening. I still meditate today. I trained in transcendental meditation, but there are a lot of other kinds, that you can do.
Right.
What happened is that as my meditations continued over a number of months, maybe even a year, I started noticing that I would think things and they would happen. And it actually got to the point where it was like, I got to find out why this is going on, because this is weird.
Right.
I had no idea before that my thoughts created any kind of anything. It was just life was random. And so I started looking for resources. I found a book called Seth Speaks. Louise hadn't even written her book yet. Then I found a minister called Terry Cole Whitaker on TV. And because of the way I'd been brought up and the religion I'd been brought up in and learned, I had vowed never to go to church again, quite honestly.
Those are famous last words.
Famous last words. And that's one thing about affirmations for everybody to know. Anytime you say not, it's going to show up.
Yeah, you're right. Go ahead.
So I started, watching TV because it was okay, because it wasn't really church. Absolutely. With Terry Cole Whitaker, and did a workshop with her, and again, got more deeply into not only affirmations, but the whole philosophy, spiritual philosophy, that really changed my mind and my life at that point from the religion I had grown up in, that, there is this spiritual being, spiritual energy, not being, because it's not like that, but that you can connect with. And that is a power and presence that you are connected with. You're a part of it. And so it was a whole new view of life for me that was so exciting. And Terry Cole, I learned a lot from her, continued on. And then I did find Louise's Little Blue book. I don't have a copy of that because I gave it away, but it's the one that lists all the symptoms and affirmations, possible metaphysical causes and things. So I found that, and I found that to be very helpful for myself and friends that I would share it with. And then ultimately in 1984, Louise published You Can Heal Your Life.
Yes.
And I'm sure I was one of the first people that bought that amazing book, You Can Heal Your Life, and just fell in love with it. I know there's so many beautiful editions. That's one of the gift editions that she has. Yes. And the 40th anniversary one that usually Martine shows is one of them as well. But it's such a beautiful book, and it's brought together the mental, emotional, spiritual, physical in a way that I'd never read before, even though I was a voracious reader. And I thought, this is the complete package. And it definitely is still relevant today. Some people think, oh, it's 40 years ago. It's an old book. There's a lot of new stuff out. Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff out. But Louise's book goes back to the basics.
Yes.
And of course, one of the basics is affirmations. But what she trained in, the philosophy she trained in, as you know very well, was science of mind. And in science of mind, they teach for practitioners and the ministers treatments. Now, Louise did actually take all the training. She became a minister, but she never had her physical church because the world has been her church.
Yes.
It truly has. She's changed the lives of millions and millions of people just with her book. And so in Science of Mind, though, it's not prayer in the usual sense of when I grew up. Treatments are so you're treating your mind and your heart to know that you are aligned with the energy of God, divine wisdom, spirit, whatever you want to call it. You're aligned with that.
Right.
And so it's a completely different view of how to, work with prayer, if you will, but called prayer treatments. So
Yes.
Louise adapted these into her book in a different way. And I would like to read one that just gives you
how wonderful.
the example.
Okay.
And this one, she has them in the beginning of every single chapter. And this one is in the end or beginning of chapter 6. And it's all about change. In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. So we're connecting with that energy of the universe. I now choose calmly, and I'm going to put on my glasses actually now. I now choose calmly and objectively to see my old patterns, and I am willing to change. I am teachable. I can learn. I am willing to change. I choose to have fun doing this. I think too often people are so serious about their personal growth. So let's have fun. I choose to react as though I have found a treasure when I discover something else to release. I see and feel myself changing moment to moment. Thoughts no longer have any power over me. I am the power in my world. I choose to be free. All is well in my world. And so it is. So I think that's such a beautiful example of just how Louise adapted the prayer treatments from Science of Mind into what's more universal.
Yes.
Right? So people can worldwide, and that's why it's been across 55 million, but translated into 35 languages and across I don't know how many countries, because people of any religion can really relate to just the very simple concepts that she has. So go ahead.
Yeah, because they're principles.
Right.
They're spiritual principles that are common in all religions. And again, that Louise was very fortunate to be trained at the New York Center of Religious Science, which had some really wonderful ministers at that time. And that the principles, again, of spiritual mind treatment is, again, it's not a begging or pleading prayer, but it's an aligning prayer as we align with the one. And the reason why, again, to add a little bit to your experience of manifesting just out of the blue, is that as we are aligned with Source, what happens is that, again, we are it. In the beginning was the Word, and that, again, let there be light. And so when we are aligned with Spirit, of course, that we manifest in our lives. I think what brought me to the Science of Mind, and also to Louise, was because that, again, that I used to blame everybody out there, and so what Louise and also Science of Mind taught me was that when I go with one of those things, is that there's three fingers pointing at me. So,
yeah.
So how did you and Louise find each other?
Well, I found her book and thought it was just the best book I'd read up to that point, with brought together all those four elements of our beings. And one day a friend of mine called me and she said, I'm going to a breakfast meeting with some holistic speaker. Would you like to go with me? And it wasn't really a networking meeting. It was more of a spiritual meeting plus networking. And it was 6:30 in the morning, which I'm not the best morning person. So I said, you know what, find out who's speaking, because I'm not getting up for just anybody.
Okay.
So she called me back. She said, oh, it's Louise Hay. And I went, oh my goodness. Okay, I'm there. So I went to the meeting. Louise was speaking. And actually, Louise at that point wasn't doing so much speaking as she enjoyed asking the audience, what do you need to know? What's a question you would like to ask me? So it was more of a question and answer. But I talked to her after the meeting and I said, I'd like to get on your email list. Now, this is 1986 at this point. You know, the internet is not a big thing. I did have email, but it's not really big.
Right.
And she said, okay, call my office, which I did. And I got onto her mailing list and then ended up going to the first intensive, which you mentioned in the bio intro, the first intensive that she'd ever done that was a week long. And the reason she started those is because she was then working with a lot of people with HIV and AIDS.
Yes.
And she felt like the weekend workshop is very powerful. I mean, people leave the 2-day Love Yourself, Heal Your Life workshop transformed. I get messages all the time about that. But she felt like a whole week would really deepen the experience in the spiritual work and the healing work. And quite honestly, at the time, I was a student. I didn't have much money, but I was determined to, manifest it. I wish I could remember how I did it, but I don't. So I went to the first one. I went to the second one about 6 months later. And then she was gracious enough. She asked me to be on staff for the next several with about 10 other people. And we had little small groups that we worked with.
Yes.
But those were very, very powerful experiences. And not only about affirmations, but also about the healing work, and really going deeply into the patterns that you've been holding, what needs to be released, the healing exercises that we did, real understanding about the mind-body connection. So those were really, really powerful, powerful times. And at the same time, I was using affirmations, and I call it the art of manifesting, Reverend Michael, because sometimes people are just putting together some words and they think but it has to be specific and non-specific at the same time, if that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Because sometimes people get too specific about what they want. And so it's not a real practical affirmation, but sometimes it's so vague, like, oh, I want to make a lot of money. Well, that's a really vague affirmation. So there's a real art to putting the right words into an affirmation. And I found that as I went on, it was something that really I was very good at, helping people who were a little stuck with where to go with their affirmations. I could usually help them find like just the right words to put in there that made it feel right. And that's another piece of it. It really has to feel right for it to work. But I'd like to give you an example from my own life, and then one that was from someone who wasn't even doing affirmations consciously. Okay. So the first one
that was the next question I was going to ask. So go ahead. There's only one mind. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was initially married to a wonderful man, but we started going in different directions, which happens. We're still friends today. So, it was something that we both chose because just had to go in different directions. And so after he and I divorced, I was actually a little bit arrogant, and I thought, okay, I'm ready for my soulmate now, right? Well, it didn't happen. I realized along the way, I had a lot more inner work for myself to do. And so initially I was doing affirmations and everything. And this one book told me to do a list of 100 things for the person I wanted to manifest. So I did this list of 100 things, and I met a guy who met about 90 or 95 of them. There was no chemistry at all. So I gave that up, and I said, okay, what is really important to me? What's really important is that I have a partner that's on the same spiritual wavelength I am.
Okay.
And has an open heart, has a good sense of humor. We communicate well. So there were, just 5 things really that I said I wanted, and I let it go. I didn't do anything about it. I stopped trying to date or do anything like that. I just focused on me being happy with where I was, and also just enjoying my life, and loving me. So what happened was, and you have met him, what happened was very unexpectedly. And I think this is so wonderful how the universe works with these affirmations, and bringing you together with whatever you're
out of the blue.
Out of the blue. I was actually in the bookstore, and I was at the trainings had already been approved by Louise. And I was in the bookstore at the local Science of Mind church that I was attending at a time, and getting some things to take with me to the training over in the UK. And who should be working in the bookstore but this guy named Rick Nichols. So we had a really lovely conversation, and I was thinking, gee, he seems like a nice guy, but I didn't really think anything of it. So I went off and did the training in the UK and came back, and I was scheduled to do a workshop on the mind-body connection at the church. And so I had to also go up in the, in the morning to promote the program. And this was a large church. There were like 1,000 people, at these different services, and there were two. So I walked in and I sat down toward the front because I knew I was going to be called up to the front. And Rick was, unbeknownst to me, had started doing the announcements at church. And I saw him up there, and God said to me, literally, he's the one. He's the one. I didn't even know him. It was just that there was this energy there, and I had thought, oh, he's a nice guy, but I had, left the bookstore not really thinking anything more about it. And so I went up on stage to do the little promo. He did a wonderful promo for me. I mean, he was very, very flattering, actually.
Okay.
And so this is, Reverend Michael, this is 31 years ago. So I think God was right.
Absolutely. I just wanted to go back through some of the key aspects that I really, especially for those of you who are looking for your mate,
Mm-hmm.
that there were specific things that you did to manifest your soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
So you went ahead and you focused on loving yourself.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You gave up finding Mr. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You gave a clear intention to the universe and let it go.
Right.
And that, again, that you stopped seeking, and out of the blue, you and Rick found each other.
That's right.
So I think and that's one of the things that my women friends over the years is, how can I find a really good guy? And I'm going, well, okay, because I keep attracting this and this and this and this and this. And that's, again, this is not about blaming. This is about acknowledging that somewhere within you is that you think that that's what you deserve.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what you did was, again, that you listed down, again, five characteristics, and then you let it go.
Right.
So any elaboration on that?
Well, I'll just tell you a funny part of it, because if you look at what I put down, what you might notice is it doesn't say anything about financial stability in there.
Okay.
And I was quite financially stable and doing quite well at the time. But when I met Rick, he was living in the bookstore manager's home because he had no home of his own. He calls himself homeless, but he wasn't out on the street, but he had no money and no job. And so there was a whole lot to deal with in that area. And, but he did meet all the criteria that I had set out. I just hadn't included everything. But on the other hand, when someone says, oh, well, I want to meet somebody who's tall, dark, and handsome, I mean, that lets out a whole bunch of people right there. So it's not about what somebody looks like.
Right.
What their heart is like.
Absolutely.
And their spirit is like. And Rick was actually recovering himself from a pretty traumatic childhood.
Okay.
So he was, working with that and just really doing his best, and in the same philosophy that I was at the time. So that was really important to me. But I think that's important to really look at, okay, what is important to me? And obviously money wasn't, because I didn't put it in there. And it wasn't that he would be, 6 feet tall or anything like that. There wasn't any of that kind of superficial stuff. The stuff that I wanted was all really heart-based and connection-based and in alignment-based. And
Okay.
so that, I think, is really, that again, that's the art of manifestation. Because if you set some unrealistic kinds of things about who you want, you're blocking who is really out there for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Why don't we take a break?
Okay.
And then afterwards, we will talk more about how to craft affirmations to manifest in your world.
Okay.
And so we will be right back. This is What Would Louise Say? Here on your New Thought Media Network. And we will be right back.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents the Science of Mind Saturday Conversations. Learn more about the Science of Mind philosophy, faith, and way of life. Join our team of experts for a weekly deep dive discussion. Come study the science of mind, chapter by chapter, and resources from the Science of Mind archives. Plan to join us every Saturday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on the New Thought Media Network.
Now you can become an internationally certified workshop leader and life coach in Louise Hay's philosophy. This training was personally created and approved by Louise and is authorized by Hay House. It will change your life and enable you to help others transform theirs. You will join a worldwide community of thousands of workshop leaders and life coaches, all dedicated to offering Louise's work to change hearts and minds. Go to healyourlifetraining.com for all the information.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
What Would Louise Say? Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hosted by Reverend Martine Bernard. Explore the wisdom of Louise Hay. Brought to you by New Thought Media Network. Dive into Louise's teachings. Experience healing and empowerment. Reverend Martine shares insights. Connect with a contemporary audience. Unlock your potential. Transform your life with love. Embrace positivity and healing. Join our vibrant community. Ready to join us? Let's spread love and wisdom together. Please like, share, and subscribe. Only on New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
And welcome back to What Would Louise Say here on your New Thought Media Network. And it is my honor and privilege to be speaking with Dr. Patricia Crane, who is the lead trainer of Heal Your Life Training. And that we're talking today about the art of manifesting through affirmations. All right. So when we were talking earlier, I was thinking about my time in 12-step programs when I was in adult children of alcoholics, where individuals would say, well, I use affirmations. And I would say, well, tell me a few of your affirmations. What are you saying to yourself? And a lot of times what I would get back are these real vague things that were not addressing some of the core issues that adult children of alcoholics deal with, which is low self-esteem, which is, again, not loving themselves and other issues. Okay. So how do we craft affirmations then to deliberately manifest?
Well, and what you're bringing up really is such an important concept, because the foundation of Louise's work is loving yourself, and loving yourself no matter what, with the background of being an alcoholic or adult child of an alcoholic or any of those other things that, patterns that are so negative. So it's loving yourself, which is hard to do initially. There's a lot that people need to forgive about themselves and others. So there are a lot of other kinds of issues that are in there as well. But the bottom line is to start loving yourself and approving of yourself. Louise, of course, recommends mirror work. I don't have my mirror with me right now, but mirror work to look in your own eyes and say, I'm willing to love and approve of myself. So it really starts with some basic words like that, and also recognizing and being willing to look back at some of the issues and patterns that you've developed because of childhood stuff. So there's a whole foundation that's there as well. But what I would say is the real key is deciding what's really important to you and deciding what your values are, right? There's a lot out there today about, let's go make $1 million. And, by the way, we'll try to be of service at the same time. That's not from my standpoint, and this is just from me, that's not a really good way to start. And I know for myself, when I was 19 years old, I made a commitment to be of service in the world somehow, and I had no idea what that would look like. Louise Hay never started out to have a worldwide publishing company. No. She started out with an intention to share what she had learned that changed her life with as many people as possible. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, of course, went to the book, etc. So I would say when you're choosing your words and choosing what's important to you, just be clear as much as you can. And for me, that affirmation, I'm going to be of service, kind of opened the door to everything that followed, right? So just one example, I was working on a wellness grant to work with companies to develop, stop smoking, stress management, all kinds of positive things, exercise, weight management. And what I realized partway through is that I didn't really like being an administrator that much. I wanted to actually be teaching these different classes. So I started doing an affirmation, and I put it together as clearly as I could. I have a wonderful job teaching others these wonderful concepts about how to change their lives. I wanted to just have a short distance to go to work, because the traffic in LA is just terrible, right? I did put the financial in there. I want to make as much money as I am now or more and have fun doing it. Now, if I had been trying to figure out how to make that happen, which is what you don't want to do, in Science of Mind, we call it outlining.
Yes.
You want to try and figure out how the universe is going to bring something to you, because you just don't know, right? And what happened out of the blue, as you said earlier, is I got a call from a guy named Ken Ravisa, who was a professor at Cal State Fullerton. And he had heard that I was into holistic health from someone, which is not what I would have described myself at the time. Right. And he said, I'm going on sabbatical. I teach stress management. I'm going on sabbatical next year. Would you like to take my place? Now, that's how unexpected things come to you, when you're clear about what you want and you let it go. And so I did. I had to go teach his class, and he had to tape me so the dean could hear me and make sure I could talk well enough to teach a graduate class. Or it wasn't a graduate class, it was just a regular college class. But I did that for 8 years, and it was a great experience in teaching. I loved working with the kids, who got something practical in their university experience. Yes. So that's how clear you want to be when you're sitting down and really crafting these. And of course, in my book, Ordering from the Cosmic Kitchen, and on my website, there are dozens of affirmations you can download. So there's the book, Ordering from the Cosmic Kitchen, that I wrote after several years of working with Louise. And it also has some of the release exercises in it before you get to the real meat of the affirmations. But it's got like hundreds of affirmations in there that you can use, and then, craft your own to go with it. And my website is Dr. P. Crane, DR for doctor, drpcrane.com. And you can go and download all of them, as many as you want from there. You can also contact me if you need some more help. So it is, a lot of practice. And I do want to say, there's a lot of neuroscience information these days. Yes. And I think neuroscience is great. And it talks about how the synapses in our brain, actually get created when you're doing gratitude work and we're doing affirmations.
Yes.
So that's a wonderful thing to know about how our brains work. But what's left out of neuroscience is spirit, divine wisdom, source, God, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
That my brain could not have figured out Ken Ravisa calling me from Cal State Fullerton. Because at the time I didn't have my Ph.D. I was in the process, but I thought I could only teach at a community college, which I was also doing at the time.
Okay.
I started doing. And so there's no way my brain could have figured that out, or it could have, but it wouldn't have gotten to the same place, right? So it's letting it go and knowing that when you put that out clearly and it's a real desire from your heart and a real feeling, that it's going to come to you. And just let it go. And, for me, it was 7 years after my divorce before I met Rick. So it took a while. It wasn't like 3 months later that all happened. But A Course in Miracles says, infinite patience produces immediate results. And
That's a great quote from the
yes.
from the Course.
And
yes.
I think especially these days, people don't have much patience. Everything's just fast all the time. And, there is a place for patience with yourself, with what's happening in the universe, to be able to, really know that it's going to come to you. Now, I do want to share a story with you that really impacted me, because this woman did not know anything about affirmations, but she had a deep desire in her heart, which was an affirmation. Okay. She was adopted, and not until her teens did she find that she had a brother who was also adopted. Okay. She tried everything, trying to get information about where he might be, and nothing. But that desire was in her heart. She lived over in Florida and went to an art school. I think it was up in New York. Years later, she ends up in San Francisco, and she's got a job there and has some friends there. And one of her friends calls and says, "Oh, I'm going to dinner. Would you like to go to dinner tomorrow night? I'm going to bring another friend along with me." And she said, "Sure. Okay." So this other friend comes along with, and they start talking. He was adopted. He was born in Florida. He went to an art school up in the north. It was her brother.
Right.
I mean, I get chills just talking about that one, because
I do too. That's like goosebumps.
Right. But the desire that she had was so strong that even though it took years, she manifested meeting her brother. And so any deep desire in your heart, like one of mine was to travel, because we never went anywhere when I was growing up. And with Louise's work, I was able to combine the intention I had to be of service, and that was my ultimate one that I got to, and also to be able to travel to different countries and meet people in different cultures and get to know them, and how powerful it is when you really get that we're all one at the heart.
Absolutely.
We all want the same things. So that has been just a joy and a privilege and a blessing in my life to be able to really, travel and teach and just feel that I'm helping other people through Louise's work, really change their lives. And it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. How is none of my business. And I think I learned that from Terry Cole Whitaker. Mm-hmm. How is none of my business.
Oh, I like that.
So my job as a deliberate creator, my job is to get clear.
Right.
Is to get clear, and then to have that deep desire.
Yeah.
And then to let it go.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, not to try to figure it out. And the story that I use with some of my students is the whole idea of the farmer. So when the farmer goes out into the field, they plant the seed into the soil, okay, cover it up. Now, they don't go out to check the seed every day.
Right.
They trust that there'll be a manifestation, or again, just let it go. And I have, again, all kinds of stories about that in my life, about, again, just letting go of desire. How did I end up DJing when I was 20 years old? Was that because, again, I lived in that world. And it's really interesting that my friends today are the friends or the people that I listened to on the radio growing up. So I go to lunch with them on a regular basis. So So again, how is none of my business?
Right.
If we get clear about what we want in our lives, and again, that's what Louise says. And again, we start releasing the need for experiencing what we're doing now. What happens is, again, that the life, again, the out of the blue stuff happens. So,
Yeah. And it seems like they're miracles, but they're really not. They're just the way the universe works when you trust that that is what is going to happen. And I love what you're saying. The how is not my business. It's not. And sometimes people say, well, I'm not really quite sure what I want. And so there's an affirmation for that, of course. I am getting clear, or I get clarity about what I want, and not trying to take action beforehand. And one thing that very recently, actually a few years ago, happened with Rick and I, we had been at a beautiful 7-acre avocado ranch where we had workshops, we had a labyrinth, we had some really wonderful workshops and, gatherings there. But it was just time to let it go. It was a lot of work, to be there and take care of everything. But we really weren't sure where we wanted to go. So we were just like, okay, we're receiving clarity about where we're going to move next. We didn't want to just jump into something that wasn't right. So the land sold, and we actually had to get out in like 30 days. And so it was we did want a roof over our head, right? So we just said, okay, we're going to just rent for a while somewhere. And we were guided to a lovely house in San Clemente. Figured we'd probably be there maybe 2 years. Well, Spirit had another plan. And so it wasn't a year later that it was his birthday. And I said, oh, I'm going to take you up to Lake Arrowhead for your birthday, because we haven't been up there for a really long time. And we ended up bidding on a house, the second house we saw up there, which was we hadn't planned to move. We hadn't planned any of that. But it was like both of us felt it. This is where we're supposed to go. And it's a beautiful, beautiful area. So the other thing is just to be open to life's unexpected leadings, like you and you're being a DJ or whatever, but just life is so unexpected. One of the other books, I forget the name of the author right now, but she says, expect a miracle today.
Absolutely.
Just expect a miracle and just allow yourself to be guided in where you're supposed to go. And some days, it says turn left when you normally turn right, and you end up somewhere unexpected and something really cool happens. So the other piece of that, and I think this was really important in my life, Reverend Michael, was the meditation practice deepened my intuition. Actually, yes. Brain brought me intuition, because I don't think I had it. We all do, but I don't think I ever paid attention to it before that. But the meditation really brought me in connection with my spiritual source and the connection to my intuition. Louise loved to call it the inner ding. The inner ding, like
way of putting it. Yes.
Yeah. When you really feel like something is right. And I think too often, because of everything that we're taught growing up, we're just trying to rely on our brains and figuring it out. And that's not really the way that life is magical. It's allowing life to lead you in different directions that you maybe did not expect, right? So it's an exciting journey. It's sometimes a little scary with all the uncertainty, but, it's a really incredible journey. So I would encourage the people that are watching to just say, okay, after this broadcast, sit down and start writing your affirmations, but beforehand, do a meditation and really think about what is important to me. What would I like to manifest in my life? And, focusing on money does not bring money.
Speak more about that.
Okay. Because usually if people are focusing so much on money, it's because underlying there's a fear or there's not enough. Right. And so when you have that underlying, that underlying fear and lack, then that's what you're broadcasting to the universe. You're not broadcasting. And the affirmation I love is unexpected income is always coming my way. I remember, I know you're familiar with Wayne Dyer as well.
Absolutely.
And, Wayne used to speak at all the I Can Do It conferences, and he was a great speaker. He pretty much said the same thing every time, but he was so entertaining. You just really loved going to hear him, his enthusiasm. And I remember him saying, if you find a penny on the ground, don't say, oh, it's just a penny. Say, thank you, universe. There's a penny. There's a little sign for me. and really be grateful for everything that you have now. And I think that's a pretty widespread thought these days. Gratitude really is another foundation that allows you to appreciate your life and just welcome more. And
Yes.
and the appreciation is not necessarily financial always. It can be love, it can be friends, it can be all kinds of things that just enhance your life in beautiful ways. And so I think the focus on making money all the time. Now, we all want to have a comfortable living. Absolutely. And Rick and I have a lot of affirmations about, money and how we grew up and how it was treated, et cetera. I always was brought up that you couldn't really ever have what you really wanted because you couldn't afford it. So
Okay.
you have something nice, but not what you really wanted. So I had the look-alike, designer clothes growing up, but my parents couldn't afford the real ones. So, and that's okay. I don't want them now. I don't have any desire for that. But when the focus is on what are my values, what's important to me, and ultimately, yes, do what you love and the money will follow. It just might not be tomorrow. And I
Right.
think that's where people get hung up. If it's not tomorrow, what do I do? And so you can definitely open up to being supported in wherever you are financially at the time. But there's one other piece of this there's two other pieces of this in terms of the finances that aren't often talked about. And one of them is you need to be responsible with money. You don't just go use your credit card and say, God's going to take care of it. That doesn't work. The other thing that I discovered personally is that if people have betrayed you in some way with money or you betrayed yourself, you need to do the forgiveness. And I rarely see anything about forgiveness in the prosperity work. But that is another foundation that's really important. And what happened for me, I had several people, not big ones, but people who hadn't paid me back. One person I was renting with didn't pay me her half of the rent and left the state without paying. And I started doing the forgiveness work on the people that I felt, had betrayed me financially. And the next thing I knew, I had a couple of checks in the mail. Now, I didn't expect that. So that's the other piece of forgiveness. You don't forgive so you expect the other person to change, right? And you know that. You do the forgiveness work so you have an open heart. And in my case, the open heart, not for all of them, but for a couple, I got a couple checks in the mail, which was really quite amazing. And so there are a number of things that really come together. And that's why Louise's work and the 2-day workshop, Love Yourself, Heal Your Life, and also the Heal Your Life training are so powerful because it gives you the time to work with these different aspects of yourself, to find those old beliefs that you didn't even know you had that were blocking you. And that is a powerful process that we have in the 2-day workshop and in the training. And it's amazing what people uncover. We've had people come to the training that said, I thought I had it all together and I'm okay, but I am uncovering so much more that has been blocking me. And they're so grateful and blessed to be able to do that. And then have more skills and abilities to go help others.
Yes.
Louise used to say, the only person you ever need to work on is yourself. And, I'm sure Rick needs to work on himself sometimes. and same for me.
He's watching the show, by the way.
He's watching, I'm sure. And so, but the truth is the only person you need to work on is yourself is really, the foundation, because the more you know about you and understand you and have transformed your patterns and your life, the more you can help others. Now, it doesn't mean you need to be perfect. And we tell people that you do not need to be perfect to come to this training. Heal Your Life teachers do not need to be perfect. They need to be authentic.
Yes.
Authentic. And when you're speaking from the heart and you really have done the inner work yourself, and again, not to be perfect, but to keep evolving yourself, people get that. They really get that. And so it's just, again, it's a fabulous journey through life. And I continue to learn more and more for myself.
And I'm scrolling at the bottom here. Again, if you'd like more information or if you'd like more information about attending workshops, just go to healyourlifetraining.com, healyourlifetraining.com. That will give you, put you in touch with Rick and Dr. Patricia and the marvelous trainers, not only here in the U.S., but also around the world. We only have a few minutes left. So what would you like to leave with our audience today that would, again, that they can take with them and to change your life right now?
Go to the mirror and say, I love you. And if that feels too uncomfortable, go to the mirror and say, I'm willing to love and approve of you. I'm willing. And sometimes you have to say, I'm willing to be willing, but that's okay. Just be willing to love yourself and be open to resources to come to you. Because what I discovered in my life, and I talk to people over and over again about this, is that when you really have a desire to change, the resources come to you. And it could be Louise's book. It could be a Heal Your Life teacher. It could be another book. It could be a TV program. It could be something that pops up on YouTube that suddenly just speaks to you so deeply. So it's really an openness to say, I'm willing to change and I'm open to whatever needs to come to me so that I do change and create the life that I really want. Not the life that I got handed growing up and the beliefs that I got handed growing up, because all those can change, so powerfully. And one of my real interests is the mind-body connection. And it's just incredible how our bodies can actually change when we do the inner work and heal cancer and all kinds of things. There are so many stories from Louise's work and other people's work that are so powerful about physical healings and really being a demonstration. So bottom line, go to the mirror and say, I love you. I'm open to change. That was what I was reading earlier today. That was the reading of the treatment from Louise's book. I'm willing to change, and know that when you really are, the resource is going to show up for you and help you do exactly what you want to do to change your life.
And a wonderful resource here that you can get on Amazon or from your local bookseller is Ordering from the Cosmic Kitchen. And again, that's available again at your local bookstore or on Amazon. So Dr. Patricia, how can people get a hold of you here?
Well, they can go to my website and, email me from there, or they can email me at, go to Dr. P. Crane. That's the best way. They can schedule a discovery call with me if they'd like. They can schedule a hour-long affirmation call if they want, on Heart Inspire or Heal Your Life Training, of course.com. While Rick and I are no longer actively the trainers, we have 2 wonderful trainers in the U.S. and 19 more around the world, and some in English, some in other languages. So you can always sign up on the Contact Us or on the pop-up. And what we have right now on the pop-up is the 12 Ways to Love Yourself from Louise Hay. So she was asked one time, but Louise, how do you love yourself? How? You keep saying that. And so she came up initially with 10 ways. Now it's 12 ways to love yourself. And we love to give that as a free gift on the website. So you can sign up there and get that.
And so that's at healyourlifetraining.com.
Healyourlifetraining.com. We have another website just for the U.S., and that's in the process of being updated. So best to go to this one now, and you'll get some of the same information.
Absolutely. This hour has flown by again, just so quickly. Again, it's been a real honor again to present this teaching again to the world again through the marvelous work that you and your trainers and your teachers and your coaches, your workshop trainers do. It really, again, it's bringing again, and the reason it works, it's not because you go to a certain church or you go to a certain synagogue or you go to a certain training. It's because that they are principles. Mm-hmm. They are principles that, again, have been taught for millennium.
Right.
And that, again, that they have been brought to us here in this century. And again, we were very fortunate to, again, that Louise was one of those teachers, mm-hmm. was one of those masters that came and went ahead. And again, and I remember the book when I was attending a Science Mind study group, the little gray book.
Yes.
I remember that. And so again, a couple of things that I get from Louise's life is not only to love yourself, but no matter what age that you are, and Louise was over 65 when she started this, No matter what age you are, it's not too late to have a happy childhood or a happy life.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so go again. Wonderful resources again to get Dr. Patricia's book. To go ahead and to if you've never read Heal Your Life, please do so.
Yes.
Put the book up there. There you go. There you go. And also there are trainers and workshop leaders across the United States and also around the world. So if you go again to Heal Your Life Training, you go there to healyourlifetraining.com. There's all kinds of wonderful resources there, and also also lists of other trainers, other workshop leaders. And again, there's workshops that are being held around the world. So again, wherever that you're watching this, again, I've met trainers from India. I've met trainers from, again, on this show from Australia, New Zealand. I mean, around the world that, again, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So again, that maybe your teacher here is to go through healyourlifetraining.com and to find someone and to go through. And one more thing is that there's something about it's one thing to read, but it's another thing to actually do the exercises in an environment that's supportive, that's loving, that's all that you're focused on. Is that.
Yes.
So having that kind of environment, getting away from the job, the kids, the family, the challenges in your life. Believe me, they'll be there when you get back. So, but to get away and to go ahead and to spend time to give yourself the gift of healing. Give yourself the gift of being around supportive people and using Louise's teaching to uncover that magnificence that's already there.
Yeah. Well, Reverend Michael, thank you so much for being my interviewer today and for all that you do to produce the show and continue sharing What Would Louise Say. Thank you so much. You're wonderful.
Well, thank you. And again, it's one of my joys of my week to be able to share. So, yes, next week, Reverend Martine will be back here with another wonderful guest here. But again, thank you again to Dr. Patricia Crane. Thank you to Rick, who's in the other room watching. Thank you for being the light here in the world and also training others to awaken and also to be the light in the world too.
Thank you.
So again, thank you. And so this is What Would Louise Say here on your New Thought Media Network, and we will see you next week.
What Would Louise Say? Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hosted by Reverend Martine Bernard. Explore the wisdom of Louise Hay. Brought to you by New Thought Media Network. Dive into Louise's teachings. Experience healing and empowerment. Reverend Martine shares insights. Connect with a contemporary audience. Unlock your potential. Transform your life with love. Embrace positivity and healing. Join our vibrant community. Ready to join us? Let's spread love and wisdom together. Please like, share, and subscribe. Only on New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Now you can become an internationally certified workshop leader and life coach in Louise Hay's philosophy. This training was personally created and approved by Louise and is authorized by Hay House. It will change your life and enable you to help others transform theirs. You will join a worldwide community of thousands of workshop leaders and life coaches, all dedicated to offering Louise's work to change hearts and minds. Go to healyourlifetraining.com for all the information.